the studios of Extreme Sports in Hastings, Nebraska, we present Huddle Up, a great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy, Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports. It's a Friday. Made it through another week. It wasn't easy, but we made it through another week here. It's the 6th day of March for 2026. Mike Will, Tyson Havronic, ready to start your day the right way. All the news, weather, and sports that you need to get out the door here this morning. We've got a full show again lined up for a Friday. The Nebraska baseball team, they're going to open up a Big Ten conference play this weekend, a 3-game series against Michigan State. Softball team hosting the Big Red Spring Classic in Lincoln this weekend. In fact, it got started last night. The Huskers picking up a couple of wins over South Dakota State. The Nebraska men's basketball team will close out their regular season on Sunday with a game against the Iowa Hawkeyes. We now know the future for the Hastings College women's basketball team. The NAIA National Tournament bracket was released last night. We'll tell you where the Broncos are going and who they'll be playing next week. Hastings College softball team, they've got their toes in the sand in Florida. They've got a spring road trip that they're playing down in Florida. They played their opening game yesterday down there against Huntington of Indiana. I'll tell you how they did. The baseball team, they're going to be in action this weekend playing against a familiar foe in Nebraska Wesleyan in Lincoln. The Nebraska softball team playing 6 games this weekend in a tournament down in Branson, Missouri. And, of course, the Girls State High School basketball tournament continues. We're into the semifinal round here today in all 6 classes. And, of course, the championship games will be played on Saturday. We'll update the Big Ten tournament as well. And we're also going to be talking Kool-Aid this morning. Our favorite topic on the show. We'll be talking Kool-Aid this morning and the brand new Kool-Aid exhibit up at the Hastings Museum. Plus, it's Friday. We're going to talk ponies today. I don't know how well this is going to go because Jim Schleicher from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network is out in Vegas this morning, so he'll join us from Vegas. Tyson, you've already got text from me, Jimmy boy. So either A, he is up early, or B, he hasn't went to bed yet.
You know, I'm gonna wager with probably A. Early bird gets the worm. He's out there helping a buddy in a handicapping contest. You heard him last week talking about how much the stakes are involved in here with this particular handicapping contest. So he's probably been burning the midnight oil trying to find the right exotics and the right ponies to place in, and maybe getting upper leg on the competition for his friends. So we're going to be talking all things, of course, Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing with another weekend on tap here at Fauner Park. Stakes race coming up with the Ogatal Stakes on Saturday. So plenty to get to, plenty to talk about. But I got to talk about the budget, our budget. And the bookkeeper, we kind of got on the discussion on checks yesterday. We'll get away from that. But in the conversations last year, I believe we had a proposal on the table, and I'm trying to figure out when and where this got scrapped. How come I'm not in Florida with the softball team? How come I'm not on the beach right now?
With your toes in the sand, with
toes
Coach
in the
Baker
sand,
and the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember discussing the proposal, but I don't know why.
I believe I said, hey, they're going to Florida next spring. That would be a great event for Extreme Sports to cover. By the way, Vegas for Schleicher is next week. You're ahead of yourself, Mikey. You're a little ahead of
Vegas
yourself.
Is next week?
Next week is Vegas. We still got time to go.
Well, maybe we ought to hitch a ride. No, I'll be busy next weekend. I thought he said next Friday he was going to be joining us from Vegas.
Yeah, it's next Friday.
So he's going to he's already up and at him in his home office. Now I feel a lot better. I'm sure we'll get to Jimmy on at 7:30. I was really concerned hooking up from Vegas. I didn't know if he was still up or he's
that's
getting up
next
early,
week
so
is Vegas.
We'll worry about that next week. So anyway, Jim Sliker will be joining us from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network at 7:30 this morning. I don't know why you're not on the trip with the Hastings College softball team.
Yeah, I'm thinking Daytona would be pretty nice about now.
Let's see. I don't know where they are. They're down. Is that where they are, Daytona? They were on some space complex or something. So, yeah. I don't know
if it's the Kennedy Space Center, that would be
Jacksonville
area.
I don't know where they are.
He said with
anyway, they're in Florida. I think they're playing at a couple of different cities down there. I think they're in Melbourne.
That's Australia, Mike.
No, but I think there's a Melbourne. I think there's a Melbourne, Florida, too. I'll pull it up here in a little bit. I'll figure out where they are. But anyway, yeah, the college softball team is in Florida. We've got the Girls State High School basketball tournament continuing. They're into the semifinal round today. We had one area team play yesterday. In fact, a couple of area teams facing up against each other. Sutton beat Amherst in the opening round game in Class D1. Sutton wins 48-33. So now the Phillies will move on. They'll play in the semifinals at 6 p.m. tonight against the top seed Bloomfield. Bloomfield is undefeated on the season, now 27-0. After they beat Arapahoe in the opening round yesterday, 73-52. So the Sutton Phillies won yesterday morning, and now they'll play tonight in the semifinals at Devaney against Bloomfield. The other game in Class D1 will pit Elm Creek up against Howells Dodge. That will go at 7:45 tonight at Devaney. So into the semifinal round, the Class A semis today at PBA. We'll have Lincoln North Star playing Millard West at 1:30, followed by Kearney against Omaha North at 3:15. The Class B semifinals tonight at PBA. 6 o'clock, Norris will play Gretna East, followed by Bennington against Lincoln Pius. Class C1 will be this morning at Pinnacle Bank. Milford against Gothenburg at 9. Fort Calhoun against Malcolm at 10:45. Class C2 will be at the Devaney Center this afternoon at 1:30. Pender will play Utan, followed by Elkhorn Valley against Guardian Angels Central Catholic. We told you about Class D1. Bloomfield against Sutton at 6, followed by Elm Creek against Howells Dodge at 7:45. And then the early games at Class D2 semifinals today. Dundee County Stratton will play Archangels Catholic. That'll be at 9 this morning. Red Cloud will have the 10:45 game this morning at Devaney. They'll take on Wynot in the semifinals. So all 6 classes will have semifinal games today at either PBA or at the Devaney Center, and then the championship games will be played on Sunday at Pinnacle Bank. And the action will get underway at 9 tomorrow morning. Class D2 will have their state championship game, first one out of the chute tomorrow at 9 o'clock at PBA. So that brings you up to date on the state high school basketball tournament for the girls. All right. Rolling along, we have the Big Ten championship going on for the women. Of course, Nebraska has already been eliminated, but we had some games yesterday. Washington beat USC 76-64. Ohio State winners over Indiana 83-59. Illinois beat Michigan State 71-69, and Oregon beat Maryland 73-68. So in the quarterfinals today in the Big Ten women's tournament in Indianapolis, UCLA will play Washington at noon, followed by Minnesota against Ohio State. Iowa will take on Illinois at 6:30 tonight, and then Michigan against Oregon. Semifinals on Saturday. Finals will be Sunday at 2:15. Then in the Big Ten women's tournament in Indianapolis, the men's tournament will go next week in Indy. So
there you go.
This is going on there with a couple of basketball tournaments that we're following here this week. So a busy time. We mentioned we now know the Hastings College postseason plans here.
Mm-hmm.
The Hastings College women's basketball team will play Friends University next Friday down in Wichita in the opening round of the NAIA National Tournament. The Broncos are a number 11 seed in the Kramer Quadrant. We're 22-8 on the season. The Falcons are the number 6 seed. They are 24-6. Now, this is a rematch from a game we had way back at the beginning of the season, back in November, when Friends beat Hastings down in Wichita, 104-102 in double overtime. That was on November the 5th. So they meet again in the opening round of the NAIA National Tournament next Friday. The game will be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Friends University somehow is hosting not only the opening round games and the second round games on the women's side, they got the men's tournament as well.
Basketball U.
Yeah, so they're going to be playing the two women's games in the afternoon at noon and 2. Then they'll play the men's games at 6 and at 8. Then the championship games will be played, I shouldn't say championship, but the second round will be played on Saturday. So Hastings will play at 2 next Friday against Friends. And then if they win that game, they'll play again on Saturday at 2 o'clock against the winner of third-seeded Corbin of Oregon and 14th-seeded Texas A&M San Antonio. So that's the schedule for the Hastings College women. We're in Wichita. That's kind of where I figured we were going to play. The Hastings College men, the last time we were in the national tournament a couple of years ago, we played at this same facility, the Garvey Center, and we played Friends during the regular season, both for the men and women the past couple of years. So I'm pretty familiar with the Garvey Center. We've been down there.
Garvey or Gravy?
I think it's the Garvey Center.
Because if it's the Gravy, if it's the Gravy Center, I'm going with you. If it's the Gravy Center, you're like, sign me up.
What do you mean the Gravy Center?
That's where I would love to go. Find me the Gravy Center. I'll take some biscuits.
This is the Garvey Center. So it'll be in Wichita. And again, 2 o'clock start next Friday. We'll be with the Broncos in Wichita, and hopefully we can hang around till Saturday. I think that's got a tough draw for us.
104 to 102.
Number 11 seed.
Yeah.
In the Kramer Quadrant. And I think I saw they're going to play opening round games at various sites throughout the area. We're in Wichita for first and second rounds. Now, if we win both of those games, then we move on to Sioux City the following week for the round of 16. But in the Kramer Quadrant, we've got Dort, who we could meet later on if we continue to win. And I think we saw Briar Cliff is also in the Kramer Quadrant. So there's a possibility we could see those two teams later on, but it's much later down the road. All of us still have to win, but future opponents, we could see a couple of GPAC teams later on.
There you go. Yeah, so you're going to take like a extra stat sheet just in case? You had a 104-102 double overtime?
I think I watched that game.
You're going to like move the margins a little bit so that you can add some more space if needed?
That was double overtime. That was early in the season when no one knew how to play defense yet. But I think it was an up-and-down game. I remember, watching that game early in the season. It was like the second or third game of the year that we played Friends. Obviously, we're a much different team now than we were back then. I'm sure they are too. So at least we have a familiar opponent we're going to be playing.
Sure.
And we've been playing Friends during the regular season the past couple of years. I think they got a new head coach this year, though. So, it's a familiar foe, but yet some unknowns. I'm more concerned with maybe winning that game and advancing to Saturday when we've got the third-seeded team, Corbin of Oregon.
Possibly.
Yeah, that could be Texas A&M San Antonio. This is their first ever appearance in the national tournament, so I expect maybe Corbin to win the other game. So that would be matched up on Saturday. So that's the fortunes for the Hastings College basketball team. We've got 5 other teams in on the women's side: Dordt, Briarcliff, Concordia, Dakota Wesleyan, and Northwestern. As expected, only 2 teams on the men's side will play in the national tournament this year, Morningside and Northwestern. Morningside, the regular season champs. Northwestern wins the tournament, and nobody else on the men's side will play in the national tournament here this year. So that brings you up to date on NAIA Women's National Tournament, the Big Ten Tournament for the women, and the Girls State High School Basketball Tournament in Lincoln. So a lot of basketball talk here to begin things.
As long as we're on the subject, Ryan Martin's been watching the Big 12 tournament on the KU women's side of things, and the court is made of glass. It's one of those LED courts. I've seen those around. Pretty cool. They can do like different stuff at like halftime and timeouts and do different designs and things.
We talked about that last week.
The glass floor.
Yeah, and they put up stats and they put up clips of games, and it's kind of wild. Is that the new thing?
That's the new trend, I'm pretty sure.
So yeah,
that'd be the latest and greatest.
Yeah, if you want to see that, the Big 12 tournament is going on.
I think it's Kansas City that has that, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see. I think
that glass floor.
Yeah, I think you're right because, like I said, we had it on sports last week.
Yeah.
Must have been sleeping. Must have been sleeping last week when we had that on. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number if you'd like to chime in with us here today. That's the Hamilton Telecommunications fan line, 402-834-1330. If you'd like to leave us a message on our social media sites, we're monitoring those comments as well. Got a couple of other things we want to bring up here if I can find my morning notes. By the way, the Hastings College women played yesterday in Melbourne, Florida, so it's not Australia. They did play yesterday in Melbourne, Florida, and they lost their first game of their Florida road trip to Huntington by a score of 2-0. LeBron James continues to make history. He's already the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, and now the Lakers star has made the most baskets in NBA history. Last night, hit a baseline jumper in the Denver Nuggets game with 12.3 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And that was basket number 15,838 in his career. That passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most made field goals in NBA history. That's a hell of a lot of points there for LeBron James. 15,838 career baskets. He is now number one in that category, hitting a baseline jumper in the ballgame last night against the Denver Nuggets in their loss to the Nuggets, 120-113. LeBron had already surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the league's all-time leading scorer on February the 7th of 2023. That gave him 38,388 career points. He has since then surpassed that total. He's well north now of 43,000 points. So LeBron James will go down as obviously one of the top players ever to play the game, NBA basketball. 15,838 baskets now for well over 43,000 career points for LeBron James. So there you go. I know you probably missed that last night in your NBA TV watching. Your Buffalo Bills are in the news this morning.
We made a trade.
They've landed a new top target for your quarterback, Josh Allen.
And got a draft pick.
Agreeing to a trade with the Chicago Bears to acquire wide receiver DJ Moore. Buffalo is sending a 2026 second-round draft pick to Chicago in exchange for Moore and a 2026 fifth-round selection. DJ Moore had 50 catches for 682 yards last season. That trip your trigger?
I say he'll be in the receiver room. He's not a 1, but he's a solid 2, 3, somewhere around there. He's going to stay healthy.
His role with Chicago kind of changed last year.
Yeah.
I think he was a more productive player a couple of years ago, but his role kind of changed last year with the receiving core. So his numbers are not great from a year ago, 50 catches for 682 yards. But for your Buffalo Bills, your receiving room,
it's pretty empty.
It's not been very good here.
Well, it's empty, and it's not really that talented to begin with. So, he instantly becomes and provides a little veteran leadership in there. And like I said, I can't see him being the 1 that he was several years ago with Chicago and Carolina. But I can see him being productive. I think that if he gets enough reps and you throw enough balls his way, he's going to be able to catch them. I mean, so he'll be a solid 3 for us. We still need to add some firepower and pieces here in the offseason and draft, but it's a step in the right direction. And for the Bills right now, in terms of Brady's rebuild process that he's going to do with this team, and it's not really a complete teardown, but it's find the holes and try to patch up as best as possible and get your star quarterback some weapons in the arsenal to make a run at this thing. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be, because we don't have a lot of cap space to maneuver around. We have a little wiggle room. We don't have to do as much restructuring as the Cowboys and the Chiefs or teams like that before we hit the salary cap. But there's not a whole lot of wiggle room here to go and get that big stud, right? That Micah Parsons or, some of those names that are super flashy and the top targets. But bunts and singles will get us there. So I like the move.
We've got a coaching change in Big Ten basketball. On the women's side, Penn State has fired their coach, Carolyn Kiger, after 7 seasons. She finishes with an 84 and 123 record. The Lady Lions went 11-18 this season, 4-14 in Big Ten play. Did not make the 14-team field for the conference tournament. She had 1 winning season in 7 years at Penn State, going 22-13 in 2023-2024. But Penn State went 5-31 in the Big Ten over the last 2 seasons. That'll get you fired.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah, that's not very good. That'll get you fired. And Penn State moving on from their women's basketball coach in Carolyn Kiger, who had been there for 7 seasons. So she's out the door.
Bye.
She's out the door. A little racing news before we get to our news break today. Hendrick Motorsports driver Alex Bowman, he's going to miss the NASCAR race Sunday at Phoenix.
So don't put Bowman in fantasy lineup.
No, that's why I'm bringing this up for you.
Thank you.
Basically for your benefit.
I appreciate
Don't put Bowman in your starting lineup for fantasy football or fantasy racing this weekend because he's not running the race this week. He was diagnosed with vertigo.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I've had a bout of that. That's not fun.
Is that when you get dizzy and can't stand up, or what is that?
Yeah, you turn upside down. Like your whole world is upside down. I've had one spell of it, and it was the worst experience of my life. Like just in terms of your ability to function. And I just remember like laying down in the middle of the doctor's office in the waiting room, and everyone was like, "Is he dead, dying?" And I'm like, "No, I just can't. I can't walk.
Stand up."
Yeah, it's a freaky thing, and obviously, if you're had a recent spell of that, and you're going to be driving around at 185, 200 miles per hour, it's probably not the safest place for you to be right now. But yeah, there's medication. It can mitigate some of the symptoms. Yeah, it is not fun.
He actually got ill last week running at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. In fact, later on in the race,
They had
he
a
had
swap,
to be
right?
replaced. Yeah, they had to pull into the pits, and he had to get out. He was not feeling well last week. And Myatt Snyder, who had been working in the pits for Fox Sports at the time of the driver change, he hopped in the cockpit.
He was a spotter, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a spotter for Jamie Little on the broadcast. He hops in, and he drove the rest of the race. He's not going to drive this week. Anthony Alfredo is going to drive the number 48 Chevrolet for Bowman this weekend in Phoenix. Now, Alfredo has 210 NASCAR National Series starts, including 43 at the Cup level, so we're not throwing a rookie into the seat here.
Oh,
He's
Jim
the
on board
simulator
already.
test driver for Hendrick Motorsports and the Chevrolet.
You got
So
Jim's
Alfredo.
camera on. What are you doing?
What's Jim doing with his camera on already? What's he doing with the camera on? I didn't think he had control over the camera.
Jim Schleicher standing by.
Yeah. I thought I had to turn him on. I didn't Schleicher. I don't think he's. Oh, now he's calling in. Now he's calling in. I didn't even know he had control of the camera. So obviously he's ready to go here. We better get to our news break. You're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. It's a 7:26 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
All right, we'll head to the Nebraska State Capitol, where lawmakers have advanced the main budget adjustment bills to floor debate, but the state is still facing a projected $125 million deficit. The legislature's Appropriations Committee reduced the shortfall by more than $500 million through a variety of spending cuts, transfers, and other changes. Senators will now debate the proposals as they continue searching for additional solutions to close the remaining budget gap. Meanwhile, a proposal aimed at placing former Husker football coach Tom Osborne into the Nebraska Hall of Fame has been delayed in the state legislature. We talked about this earlier. Current Hall of Fame requirements say inductees must first be dead for 35 years. This is the most insane law I have ever heard of. But because the effort to attempt to undo this insanity was drafted so specifically, it's actually hit a roadblock with the Constitution, as the Constitution prohibits, and rightfully so, laws applying to only one person. Supporters obviously saying Osborne's achievements warrant recognition, but senators agreed to pause the effort and worked on a revised proposal that would meet constitutional requirements. How about just having Hall of Fame members eligible when they're alive? That would be a good starting point for this legislation. Weird law. Trying to get undone at the state capitol. We'll continue to monitor. It's 7:28, 2 minutes till 7:30. Back to the East Side studio as we go. Mike, what's going on in sports?
Well, the Nebraska baseball team will open Big Ten Conference play this weekend with a 3-game series against Michigan State. The Huskers are 7-5 in the season. Today's game gets underway at 2. Saturday's game will be at 1. The series finale on Sunday is scheduled for noon. The Nebraska softball team swept a pair of games with South Dakota State yesterday in the Big Red Spring Classic, winning 9-4 and 8-0. The Huskers are now 16-5 in the season. They will play Nebraska Omaha on Saturday at 2. And the same two teams will play on Sunday at 2 o'clock. The Nebraska men's basketball team will close out the regular season on Sunday with a game against Iowa. The Huskers are 23-5 in the season after Tuesday's 72-52 loss to UCLA. The Hawkeyes are 20-10. They're 10-9 in the conference. Iowa beat Nebraska 57-52 on February 17th in Iowa City. Tip-off will be at 4 on Fox. And the Hastings College women's basketball team will play Friends University next Friday in Wichita in the opening round of the NAIA National Tournament. The Broncos are 22-8 on the season and will be the number 11 seed in the Kramer Quadrant. The Falcons are the number 6 seed with a 24-6 record. Friends beat Hastings 104-102 in double overtime on November the 5th. Tip-off will be at 2 In the other game, third-seeded Corbin of Oregon will play 14th-seeded Texas A&M San Antonio at noon. The two winners will play on Saturday at 2, with the winner advancing to the round of 16 in Sioux City, beginning on March the 19th. 5 other teams from the GPAC will also be competing in the Women's National Tournament. They include Dordt, Briarcliff, Concordia, Dakota Wesleyan, and Northwestern. Only 2 teams from the conference will play in the men's tournament. That will be Morningside and Northwestern. To check in your sports headlines at 7:30 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Friday's a busy weather day with the cold front coming through, knocking our temperatures back throughout the day. Our high will come in the morning right in the mid-50s. Other than that, we'll see southerly winds switching to the north, gusting to 30 miles per hour. Large hail damaging winds and an isolated tornado possible just off to our east and southeast of the Tri-Cities overnight tonight. We'll see maybe a little bit of rain-snow mix, especially to our west and northwest, a low in the upper 20s. Sunshine returns for the weekend with highs in the 50s and 60s.
Boy, it's nice this morning. Step outdoors. We've got south winds at 7 miles per hour. It's cloudy. Got a little light rain earlier this morning. It's a 58 in Hastings at Extreme.
Hi guys, this is Justin Consrick with Adam Marshall Land and Auction. Just want to talk to you about how we do things. I talk to farmers every day. A lot of guys just want a simple, honest way to sell equipment. That's why I work with Adam Marshall Land and Auction. We know the equipment, we know the buyers. We run real auctions with no buyer's fees, which brings in more bidders and stronger results. From one machine to the full lineup, we handle marketing, the details, the sales start to finish. We're just real people with real auctions, real results. If you're thinking about auctioning equipment, reach out and give me a call at 308-991-5429.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Vollen Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the advanced funeral planning specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Vollen Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at Hamilton is Business.
Get ready for the ultimate trivia experience with Extreme Sports Trivia. Play from anywhere at home, on the go, or at your favorite bar or restaurant. Compete live against players from all over in real time, answering questions across categories like sports, pop culture, Marvel, and more. Want to see how you stack up? Track your progress with live leaderboards and aim for the top spot. It's free, fun, and super easy to play. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today at extremesports.com trivia and start playing now. And keep an eye out. We're coming soon to a bar or restaurant near you.
Yeah, we're happy. We're excited. We're going to be adding our 4th location for our trivia game. It's going to be at Miscues in Hastings. That'll be our 4th location. You can play the trivia game in one of these locations. You can also watch our sports activity that we have on our Roku channel. So Miscues is being added to the list, along with Bullseye Sports Bar and Grill, also the Tank in downtown Hastings, District 14 Pizza and Bar out in the western part of the city of Hastings. So adding Miscues here in the next couple of weeks. We'll get that up and operational, and we'll let you know when that is fully ready to go. Our 4th location for our Extreme Sports Trivia game. 7:34, it's a Friday. You know what that means.
And down the stretch they come in the Kentucky Derby, and Barbaro is running away. It's Edgar Prado aboard, and Barbaro is going to win this Derby by 6 lengths. Bluegrass had second. From far back, Steppenwolf came on to be third.
It's our pleasure once again to meet up with Jim Sliker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. I thought you were going to be in Vegas this morning, Jimmy, but evidently it's a week off. Is that right?
I heard that. Yes, it's actually next week. I'll be flying out Wednesday, and tournament starts Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to making some money out there.
Now, next Friday is going to be a whirlwind then, because you're going to be in Las Vegas. I will be probably in Wichita next week at this time. So, and then Tyson will be back here in Hastings controlling the mothership. So you'll be in Vegas. I'll be in Wichita. Tyson will be back in Hastings next Friday. So it'll be a whirlwind next week.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll get through this. That won't be a problem. Horses are horses, whether I'm in Vegas or whether I'm here. We'll still pick some winners.
All right, Jim Sliker, the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. I had some people follow some of your picks last week, Jimmy, and you cashed in on a couple of picks last week that were not too shabby. They were pretty happy with your picks, and they immediately text me and say, hey, next time you talk to Jim, tell him thanks for the picks. So you came through for a couple of folks last week.
Well, let's hope we can come through for them this week, too. I really like Saturday's card. It's fantastic racing on Saturday. Not only do we have the stakes race, but if we look at race 2, that could also be a stakes race with the horses that we have in that. So there's some really good races on tap all 3 days.
Yeah,
it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday affair this week at Fonner. Let's start with today's card. What pops out for your Friday card?
Well, today's card, the wind is what's going to pop out at me to start with. Let's get through today, but there's a couple races I like in there. 5th race is one that really gets me. It's not that great of horses. It's kind of bottom claimers, but as far as the maiden ranks, but these horses faced each other last time, and that's where I'm looking at to go with my best bet of the day, is looking at the 5th race in number 6, Dark 30. It's a very weak field of horses. Like I said, most of them faced each other last time. Dark 30 has faced a lot better competition in the past. Last week just didn't seem to get it done with this group, but I think that this horse is going to bounce back, and Kelly Martinez has been struggling, but her horses are starting to run a little better, and I look for Dark 30 to be the Extreme Sports best bet of the day.
Yeah, this is a Dark 30 horse. Again, you talked about Kelly Martinez. Just a head-scratching start to the season for her horses that she's been training. But you mentioned Dark 30 with a real good shot here to pick up that victory for her. Another horse that I want to talk a little bit about, Oh, I Giggle. And this is kind of the lovable horse that can't quite get over the hump. Sort of always kind of the bridesmaid at the altar, so to speak, when she's running at Fonner Park. Does Oh I Giggle have an outside shot to win this baby?
Oh I Giggle always has a chance. This horse is always close, but it just finds a way to lose. You look at the number of times that this horse has run second or third and has yet to get a win. It wouldn't surprise me if she did. I just think that Dark 30 has faced a lot better horses. I looked for that one, like I said, to get the turnaround. But Oh I Giggle would be one to play in the exotics with her.
I know how she feels, Jimmy. It just has a tendency to lose. That's kind of my thinking, too. I just have a tendency to lose.
Well, I think maybe she's been watching too much of the Nebraska women's basketball. She gets out there, looks like she's going to be a winner, and then just falls apart.
You've given us the Extreme Sports best bet of the day on today's card. What about your long shot? How can I pick up some money today?
Well, this is a horse I think we can make some money on. It's going in the very next race, in the 6th race, and that's a horse by the name of Optimal Trip. Last trip wasn't necessarily optimal for it. It didn't break well, didn't break alertly, kind of got shuffled back at the start. Normally this horse is closer to the lead, and last time it was running last, next to last most of the race. It kind of looked like the jockey gave up on it at the end. I think he'll be closer to the pace today and ready to pounce on them when they're coming down the lane. So I really think Optimal Trip, we should see some nice odds, hopefully at least 6-1 and hopefully maybe 8-1 on her.
Jim Schleicher, Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network, joining us here each and every Friday morning on Extreme Sports as we take a gander at the weekend card for Fauner Park. Friday, Saturday, Sunday racing, all available. As far as Saturday's card is concerned, Jim, we turn our attention to the Octagon Stakes, and with that, this is a fascinating stakes race just in terms of trying to handicap. I'm scratching my head. I'm banging my head against a wall. I'm throwing darts essentially to try to find a horse. There isn't really a clear horse that stands out to me that's above one or the other here. This is going to be a very, very competitive field.
This is a very competitive field, and there's some dark horses in here. One to look at. It hasn't been out yet this year, is the one horse they call me Moose out of the Grady Thompson barn. This horse was supposed to run last week and had a little problem in the stall. Didn't really hurt himself, but they just went on the caution side. This horse was last year's 3-year-old of the year in Nebraska, made over $50,000. Now it is moving up and facing older horses, so that could be a bit of a challenge for it, but there's so many horses in here that normally are out on the lead. General Shipman, Caleb on the Go goes for the lead. Shipslog's going to be out fighting for the lead. Most of them are right behind him. And the intriguing part about all this is there really isn't a horse that's a true closer. A lot of these horses, once they're in a position, and maybe they might gain a length or two on the leader, but they're not consistently passing horses. And so, therefore, I'm kind of throwing an outsider in here, and sorry, Chad McKay, you say when I pick you I might jinx you, but I really like Fire Spittin' Kitten. This horse has won out this year, run third against some of these same ones, going 4 furlongs. I don't think 4 furlongs is necessarily that horse's best distance, but Fire Spittin' Kitten was on the shelf last year after midseason, had a chip in his knee, went to see the vet, had a little surgery, come back pretty strong in his first race out this year. This horse can run, and I really think that it's the horse that could lay right behind these and get the win today. It shows it can pass horses, and that 4 furlong race where it ran third looked like it has some good promise to get these today.
All right, again, Jim Schleicher from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network joining us, talking about the Saturday card up at Fauner Park. You gave us your opinions there, Jimmy, on that race. What about your best bet long shots for Saturday? What do you got going?
Well, on Saturday, I really like the second race if we're looking at a long shot, and I think that's a good chance to make some money there. We look at this race, and it's a 4 furlong sprint. India Inc. comes back in this race. India Inc. won the Grasmick going 4 furlongs earlier this year. Races against some of these same ones. We see high probability, really an easy winner last time out. Pedro Perez run a really nice race, was barely beaten. But a horse that really looks to be a standout in here, and I think he can beat, or the favorite in India Inc., is going to be a horse by the name of Hasty Flyer. Hasty Flyer comes out of the Skylar Condon barn, 2 for 2 this year. If we go back and watch those races, Hasty Flyer has the fastest splits, and you can't see that in our forums anymore. Equibase is not publishing them. If you go back and recap these races, you'll see the times that it was running. It actually had a faster quarter mile than what India Inc. did. So if it can outbreak it, it can hold the lead, it can hold the rail. I really think Hasty Flyer is going to be a nice pair. It's starting out at 6-1. I think we can get more than that on her even. because I think Indy Inc. is really going to take a lot of betting in here.
Again, weekend card, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on tap over at Fauner Park in Grand Island. We're talking with Jim Schleicher here from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. And Jim, you mentioned on some of these best bets and long shot plays, I think there's some money to be made here in the exotics as well. With taking a look at some effect exactas, trifectas, throwing those babies on the books, and maybe a play with that second race, throw in Hasty Flyer, maybe in with an India Inc. I don't think you can have a ticket, Jim, that doesn't have that 6-horse in. He's really strong across the board here.
He is tough, and when Mark Hibben bought the horse, he shot him in here specifically for the Grasswick, which he ended up winning. He beat his stablemate. We'll see his stablemate coming back on tomorrow, and his stablemate Painted Blue looks really tough, and that wasn't his best race going 4 furlongs, but that does make Indy Inc. look really good too. But I just think there's so much speed in this race. I really think 4 furlongs it's an all-out dash, but I think Hasty Flyer can get there. Another one I'd be playing in the exotics is probably going to be High Probability in there. That one will also get a little bit of an odds, I think.
Well, we started off today, Jimmy. You kind of talked about the weather situation. It's going to turn windy, and it could be miserable late in the day today at the Fauner Park. How do you handicap that? You don't know what the weather is going to do. How do you keep an eye on the weather as the day rolls on? But how's that going to affect the racing today if it gets extremely windy today?
Well, I hope I've got a jockey on his back that's not riding high in the saddle. He better be sitting low and being aerodynamic. But generally, in the wind, you'd think, okay, that's going to be harder on a speed horse. That's going to knock him down, wind out of the north, out of the gate. It's going to be a little tougher on him. But it seems like in a really strong wind, it's harder for a off-the-pace horse to make up ground. They'll have that behind them in the stretch, but I don't know. I still think the speed bias is going to be there even with this wind. And hopefully the weather's going to be rebounding, and we're going to go back into the 50s and 60s for the rest of the week.
Again, Jim Schleicher heading to Las Vegas next week, where he'll join us live from the show, helping out a friend over with that big handicapping contest. As far as the preparations are concerned for that, have preparations begun? Have you started to kind of put some markers on some horses that you're going to be playing in Vegas?
Well, that's one of them that, you hate to say it, it doesn't start next week. It started about 6 months ago. You start watching so many races, and you start looking for trouble lines with horses. You'll put them in a virtual stable, and you only pray that they come back during this week. But, when you have so many races to play, that's why I'm going out there to help a friend. There's a couple of us actually going out to help. He finished 11th last year out of over 700. But you really need, you hate to say it, you need help, because when there's 70, 80 races that you're trying to look at or more each day, it's hard to handicap that many. So when we're out there, we throw suggestions to him. It's still Jeff's final choice of what he takes, but to start pointing out things, it's very important to have some help, whether it's someone sitting right beside you or you're doing prep for months going into this.
You have specific tracks that you get assigned to kind of keep an eye on?
It's almost any track that's running that allows simulcast betting. So Fauner, we're out because they can't simulcast outside of the state. But
right.
You'll have your Florida tracks, New York, California, Kentucky. There's 9 or 10 different tracks that can be played throughout the day. You'll have, I believe it's 8 mandatory races that everybody has to choose from. And then the rest of them, you're picking another 8 races out of 80 races. So there's so many to look at, and you can't have favorites. You have to find that long shot or something that's probably going to pay 10-1 to be your bet. It's tough to make it when you're looking at this horse should really win, but he's only even money. You're going to get $5 out of him. It just doesn't seem to work. So you got to find those long shots in those those little bits of peanuts out there to grab and get them into your picks.
That'll be next weekend. We'll talk to Jimmy and find out how he's doing with his buddies out in Las Vegas. I know it's still a little early. What about the Sunday card, Jim? Anything pop up on Sunday worth mentioning here?
Well, Sunday, I haven't got into it a lot. I was kind of waiting again to see what the weather, because they were talking some rain and stuff. But another horse that's going to come back, probably won't pay much. It's going to be Hurricane Lassie running on Sunday. That horse has a lot of speed. It'll be stretching out to 6 furlongs, but that shouldn't be a problem for that. That's one that I'll probably be playing. And getting back to on Saturday, I know we really didn't talk about a best bet for Saturday, so I'll throw this one out there. Race 3, number 4, horse by the name of Jane Can Die. It ran really well in California. We haven't seen it race here this year. Only had 3 races last year running at Los Alamitos, and 1,000-yard races in a quarter horse. Thoroughbred mixed meet, won 2 of 3. This horse has tons of speed, and look for that one to get out there. That's my Extreme Sports best bet of the day on Saturday. So I think that's where we can make a little money.
All right, always a pleasure catching up with Jim Schleicher on Friday mornings. We do throughout the Nebraska thoroughbred horse racing season here on Extreme Sports. Again, Jimmy on the road next week to Las Vegas, and we'll still check in with him next Friday. So if you need somebody to carry your bags, Jimmy, Tyson might be available this week. We might be able to make it work. So if you need somebody to carry your bags and your clipboard, let us know. We'll see if we can get Tyson broken away here.
Well, if he wants to bring another couple computers out there and a big bag of cash, we can sure take care of that. Hopefully we're going to make some money this weekend to help support this while we're out there. But as always, if you're wanting all the selections for Fawner Park, you can go to our Facebook page, Facebook group, Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network, and they will all be posted on that site. All our winners for all 10 races on Saturday, they'll be posted later on today. Sunday's races will probably be posted later on this evening when we know a little bit more about the weather. But all our selections are out there. There's a lot of information out there that you can glean off this. We look at jockey standings for the week, not only for trainers and jockeys for the week, but also for the entire season. And I guess I should point out a couple that really stand out this last week as far as trainers was Trevor Ruskin only started 4 horses, had 2 firsts and a second. His horses are ready to run. Another one that really need to be watching is if Larry Donlin Jr. is running a horse. He run 3 horses last week, had 2 firsts and a third. They don't have big barns, but they sure got runners, so it's things to watch and look for.
Okay, Jimmy, have yourself a great weekend. Look forward to talking to you again next Friday, huh?
Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you next Friday, too, and we'll have to get up awful early. I'll be up at 4 o'clock out there to be ready for 5:30, for which will be a 7:30 show. And one thing we need to throw out, I guess, that everybody needs to think about is don't be late for Sunday's races. Set your clock ahead Saturday night, so that you are not late with daylight savings time.
Jimmy, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jim.
That's Jim Schleicher from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network joining us each and every Friday to talk ponies at Fawner Park in Grand Island. Rolling along here, 7:53. You're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning, huddle up on Extreme Sports. Let's talk Kool-Aid, shall we?
Yeah.
At the Hastings Museum, you had a chance to sit down with Michaela Wright, who's involved with the Hastings Museum yesterday about this new exhibit that's going on at the museum.
Yeah, Michaela Wright showed up to campus yesterday. We have a campus and community connection hour that we do here on our campus radio station that I've been fortunate enough to have been named the manager of this past fall, and invited her up to drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, on what's going on at the Hastings Museum, opening up a brand new exhibit. It has moved from the basement to the second floor, and some really, really fun and exciting things await, as we'll hear from her here on the show.
me.
So let's talk just a little bit about, we've brought you on the program before as funds were being generated towards this new exhibit for Kool-Aid, and one of the staples, I think, of the Hastings community. We've got to the finish line, and I know that the Hastings Museum is super excited to show this off and have a grand opening, and things are really happening throughout the week and into the weekend here.
Yes, this has been years in the making. Our original exhibit opened in 2002, and they had a small refresh in 2012. But the idea of an entire new exhibit has been in the works for, 5-6+ years. We've been raising money since around 2018, and then the real work started before COVID in 2020. So we're very excited to finally be here at that finish line and show everyone the brand new space.
So let's just talk just a little bit about this exhibit and I think a members only celebration that's going to be going on here to kind of cut the ribbon, so to speak, and christen this whole thing off.
Yeah, to say thank you to our members for simply being members and supporting us on Saturday, March 7th, so just in a few days, is a giant, almost mini Kool-Aid days, but all indoors. So we'll have lots of themed station, paint with Kool-Aid, create your own Kool-Aid flavor, coloring stations. We have Eileen's made a special batch of Kool-Aid cookies just for us for that weekend, and other fun all-aged activities. Those are all free for all Hastings Museum members. Doors open at 8:30. Those activity stations will run from 10 to 4, but then you're able to come and explore all day.
What has been just kind of the general vibe around the Hastings Museum as you guys have been preparing and getting ready to open this up to your members, to the public, and just the excitement that's starting to build in the community?
Yeah. Like I said, this has been in the works for years. I just joined on last year, so I'm kind of just here for the last bit, but it's kind of the most fun, in my opinion, to see it all come to life. Construction phase started over a year ago. Kind of how our exhibits work is we have a different company for our large permanent exhibits. We'll build a lot of the pieces in a different location, in a different state, and they started bringing it into the actual space in October. We didn't continue on until around like January, because that's when we closed our existing exhibit, and that's when our team could go in and actually move all of our artifacts and then do the final touches. This week, it's a lot of excitement, but it's also some stress. We, have a very, very small team, but we do the best we can. This morning, we finalized stuffing our new Kool-Aid Man costume. So you never know what you're going to do when you work at the Hastings Museum, if it's going to be kind of boring office work or if you're stuffing a giant mascot. So
again, the members only celebration coming up on March 7th, coming up this Saturday at 8:30. I would say when does this open to the general public? But I think I would be remiss if I didn't say this is a great opportunity to get a membership to the Hastings Museum and see this thing firsthand when it opens up.
Yeah, you can become a member today, tomorrow, Friday, if you want to, even Saturday. We'll let you in the door for that member sneak peek if you get a membership. And it will open to the public at 1 o'clock on Sunday, because that's our normal Sunday hours right now. And then, come anytime. We're excited to have everyone in and check it out.
All right, that's a quick little conversation with Michaela Wright. She's with the Hastings Museum, talking about the new Kool-Aid exhibit that's going to go on at the Hastings Museum. Waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. It's 7:58 on Extreme Sports.
Connet Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Connet Auto Care is here for you.
The key to a thriving community is a good foundation. And for over 75 years, Hastings Federal Credit Union has been building and supporting Hastings and the surrounding areas, providing the support for new cars to keep you on the road, new homes to give you a place to land, or help with whatever life throws your way. With easy access via online banking or our mobile app, it's never been easier to have your financial dreams at your fingertips. Come see us at Hastings Federal Credit Union to start your banking journey today.
All right, Mike Willis-Heinzen of Friday with you. It's a Friday morning. Kind of a whirlwind today. Boy, we were on a speed course today. We burned through a lot of stuff here in an hour.
I feel like I'm a little winded, to be honest with you. I feel like we just got done running the 100-meter dash, and you know me, I don't run real fast, so yeah, that booked.
Yeah, we recapped all the the state tournament action in the first half hour of the show. Told you about where Hastings College was going for the women's national tournament. Talked about that a little bit. Second half hour of the show, Jim Sliker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network joined us. Talking about the ponies at Fauner Park this weekend. And Michaela Wright wrapped things up from the Hastings Museum, talking about the Kool-Aid exhibit up at the museum. So if you'd like to download the show again, and if you missed a portion of the show today, maybe hit the snooze alarm once too many times, you can download the show and listen to the show in its entirety. Just go to our social media sites and download the podcast, and you can listen to the show anytime you want, anytime throughout the day or throughout the weekend. So, let's see. We got the semifinals going in girls state basketball today in Lincoln. That's in all 6 classes. So if you still got a team playing there, you're playing today. And then the championship games are going to be played on Saturday. And, of course, those lovely consolation games in the lower classes, C1, C2, D1, and D2. Never been a fan of those things, but
the stupidest thing in sports.
Yeah, they're still around.
Third place games.
Hey, we just got beat in the state tournament in the semifinals, but let's wake up and play again on Saturday.
All your dreams have been crushed, and everything that you worked your ass off for all season long just crumbled, and you were one game away. Why don't we get up and play tomorrow? No, that's the stupidest thing in sports.
Yeah, let's play this third place game with just mom and dad and maybe grandpa and grandma are in the stands. Yeah, those are. Anyway, if you still got a team going, you still got 2 games to go. You got the semifinals, and if you win, you play the championship tomorrow. If you lose in the lower classes, you go to the consolation games somewhere.
That's all it is. That's all it is to keep money. It's to keep money in Lincoln. Oh, we got you here for 2 extra days now.
It's all about money.
Money, 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 money.
Anyway, have yourself a great weekend. Again, our next broadcast is not going to be till next week. We'll have baseball, softball. We're going to have Hastings College women's basketball next week. So it's going to be another busy week next week for us on Extreme Sports. But have yourself a great weekend. Have yourself a great day today. Enjoy your time at the Ponies if you're heading up that way here today. Yeah, we'll be back on Monday morning at 7 for Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Have yourself a great day.
You've been listening to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports. Join us every weekday morning from 7 until 8 on Extreme.